Awesome. Awesome. Oh, Chanelle, I'm so glad you were able to find a babysitter. I'm so sorry it was kind of at the last minute. And then it made me nervous that I couldn't, I never got you responding back that you were, oh my goodness. So
You're good. You're good.
good.
We're here. I'm happy to
All
be here.
All right, Chanelle. So real quick, this is the team of the Castronovos, Stephanie Wood, Terry Bryant, she's a silver executive, and myself. And then we have, of course, Tammy Glowacki, silver director, and Dawn Abbott, silver director, as part of their teams as well. And we decided that we were going to host a multi-team tonight. So I just would love for you to introduce yourself. Some of you saw her at in Orlando, and some saw her at Zing Fest. I should have taken a video, you guys, because we had a costume party, and this girl can dance. And how many months pregnant were you? You were like, I mean,
23, maybe 24. I think I was 24, 25. I don't know.
You were, it was, well, the one in April, right? No, the one in October, sorry. The October one. And she's out there dancing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl, little pregnant girl out there. So cute. So real quick, she is the Senior Director of Product Development. Is that correct?
Of research and product development, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to let you take over. I'm going to mute myself out and figure out how to do that.
Well, I will just get started. I am Chanelle. I am the Senior Director of Research and Product Development for Singular. I am a food scientist and functional nutritionist. Those are my certifications. I have been working in this industry, in the wellness industry, for about a decade. I first started off my career working with autoimmune protocols in medical practices back east, so like Chicago, New York, Maine. All of them were over there, and I traveled a lot, and I trained doctors on nutritional protocols for autoimmune diseases and pain management. And that is how I first started my career. Through that process, I recognized a very large shortcoming in supplementation. They tasted like dirt, and you had to take a lot. And granted, this was like a decade ago, so we have definitely advanced supplements in the last 10 years. And so I really found a need for making supplements work within lifestyles, making them work, but then also making sure that they work for you. And that's when I started formulating supplements for medical practices. And so I helped doctors formulate their own supplement lines. And then my first kind of jump into this industry, into the direct marketing industry, was just by chance. I had somebody see me do a presentation at a university and recruited me just to be a guest speaker at an event. I was really nervous because I'm very used to training doctors. So it was like, maybe 15 to 30 doctors in a room, but it's very classroom style, kind of like this, where it's casual and it's a little bit more conversational. But this was like in front of thousands of people on a stage. And I was like, I don't know about this. I ended up loving it, but more so than that, I fell in love with this industry. And the reason for that is you had thousands of people that literally cared about other people's health and wellness. And also even like their financial wellness, all of these different things. And you had this group of caring people, where with a doctor, I'm not saying a doctor doesn't care, because they do care, but they have such a short amount of time. You go into a doctor's office and you're sitting in the waiting room forever. And then you get pulled back into a room and you're waiting there forever. And then you talk to your doctor for 5 minutes. They know nothing about your life or your lifestyle, or they don't really get to know you in order to really understand how to help. And so one of the things that I loved about this industry is you literally have somebody who's there who's going to kind of hold your hand and help you to make sure you're getting the most from your products and most from your program and all of those things. I'm not saying that we need to be wellness coaches or anything. It's just kind of loving people well again. like just kind of being someone's cheerleader. You don't have to know everything. You definitely don't need to know everything I know. I am here as a resource so that you don't have to spend the time that I did getting 3 different degrees. And so like, I'm here to be a resource for you guys. But yeah, that was my introduction to this industry. And I really did. I just fell in love with it. I ended up becoming a part owner with the company, and we sold when I found out I was pregnant with my first daughter. And that was a very hard thing for us. And I did freelance work until, if you guys know Rena and I worked in this previous company together, and she is incredible, salt of the earth. And she was like, just come see what we're about. I think I had like 3 interviews, and I fell in love with like Wendy and all of these people. I was like, this is incredible. Like, these people are so incredible, and they cared so much about the distributor success. And that the wellness side of it is so important to me. I'm so passionate about women's health specifically, and advocating for women's health, because I went through my own journey of obesity and endometriosis and cystic acne and all this kind of stuff. And I know what it feels like to be have compromised health. So I'm very passionate about women's health. And so coming into Singular, just really exciting. They held me off for a while because of the pandemic. Like, I couldn't meet anybody, no events, which has been really hard. So I'm really happy to be here and actually get to see people's faces and see the people who get to take the products that I have formulated or will be formulating, which is really exciting. But I know tonight we wanted to talk about the 8-day jumpstart, and about like the 30-day, that post plan, and then even just wellness going from there. And because there was some changes, but these were very strategic changes. One of the things is, so I have a degree in food science. Science does change, and that's the point of it, right? We question science, and we prove ourselves wrong pretty much. So if you like, just the history of diets has changed, right? Like, I remember like Atkins diet used to be like this huge thing, right? And we've had like potato diets. My mom has been on every diet in the book, right? But some of the things we find is really a whole food, like a more broad, like less restrictive diet is better for long-term success and will prevent yo-yo dieting. So with this, we did want to incorporate fruit and grains in limited amounts, but enough that we are able to satisfy the needs that your body has. So I wrote down so for fruit has 3 main anti-obesity effects of it. I know people think fruit, like, fruit has lots of sugar, right? So people are fearful of fruit, think, it has a lot of sugar, or a lot of carbohydrates. I think that's another fear. But one of the things we've really found through research is people with obesity do not eat that much fruit. And so you don't find, like, when you look at people who are overweight, obese, morbidly obese, fruit is actually not a normal part of their everyday diet, and definitely not a large part. And so part of the reason for that is for the anti-obesity, I'll just read it. 1 is micronutrients that support metabolic pathways. So you have all of these micronutrients in your fruit, and they actually support those metabolic pathways, which means they're supporting a healthy metabolism. Even with sugar, they are still supporting that. Uh-oh, I got a tickle in my throat. 1 second. Okay. The second way is fruit has what we call phytochemicals. And these are what reduce, you know them as like antioxidants, things like that. They actually reduce that oxidative stress. That is one of the reasons why Global Blend, Genesis, those products are so powerful, is because they help to fight those free radicals. And what I kind of think of when I think of a free radical, I think if you were driving down the road and say one of your tires pops, so it gets unbalanced, right? And now your car's going crazy, and it can start to hit other cars and damage them and damage them and damage them, right? And you don't want to have a lot of damaged cells that turns into something very big, starts with a C. And so we don't want that, right? So what we do is a antioxidant think of it like the spare tire. So it comes in and it puts on that spare tire so that that no longer causes damage. That is one of the really powerful effects that fruit has in it. But yeah, like I said, like you are getting those by supplementing, through Global Blend and Genesis as well. So this reduces that, but it also decreases adipogenesis. So, adipose fat cells, like think of like that's like the scary type of fat. This actually decreases that. These phytochemicals. So that is a really cool benefit of fruit. Like I said, I'm getting nerdy with you. You don't have to remember all of these, but I feel like sometimes if I can give you like a bigger, rounder explanation, you can pull from that things that make sense to you and will make sense to other people. So that helps to control obesity. Now, my favorite one is if you follow me on social media, I'm also called the gut girl. That is my area of expertise. And one of the things that fruits do is they have what we call polyphenols. Some of them do. Some have polyphenols and some have really high levels of polyphenols. And what this is going to do is this is a modulator for the gut microbiota, meaning this feeds your good gut bugs. You have, like, even though you take probiotics, you still have 100 trillion bacteria in your body and on your body. You are more bacterial DNA than human DNA, which is pretty wild. And it's your responsibility, because you could not live without the bacteria, and the bacteria can't live without you. So you actually have to feed it. And fruit is one of those ways. And actually, so is our grains. Grains also have some prebiotic fibers in them as well. And so what's really cool about the microbiome is one of the things we see is that people with a very diverse microbiome, meaning they have lots of different good bacteria, they have lower weight than people with the same amount of bacteria, but not as diverse of strains. There was this study called the twin study, and they took thousands of identical twins and they tested the fecal matter of them to see what their bacterial composition was. And the obese ones all had a limited diversity of strains in them. So the more diverse your diet, the more diverse your bacteria, the healthier weight you're at, your metabolic health, all of those, your blood sugar, all of those different things. And so with the 8-day and with that 30-day, we wanted to make sure that we weren't restricting you too much to where you compromise that, because if you compromise that, then long-term success isn't as attainable. You can still, like, calories in and calories out is like the most simple way to put it. It does work, but it won't work long-term because you might not be feeding your hormones correctly, which is like another reason why omega is great. Omegas are really important for hormones. And then you have, like I said, like, even though you have the 8-day products, why I love that people take that largest bundle with all the wellness products is because your body isn't just that calories in, calories out. It really is that you have all these different functions that all work together to make you have the ideal health as well as the ideal weight. Weight is normally just a symptom of what's going on in the inside. And it's just manifesting itself. So a lot of times when you address all those different health things, then your weight will just naturally go where it needs to be. Okay, I think I got a question. Oh, interesting question. Was cheese added for the same reason? So cheese is a little bit different. If you can get really quality cheese that maybe hasn't been, if you can get unpasteurized, that has a lot of actually like live bacteria in it, and that helps with gut health. But like just like normal like store, it's just really giving you like I think we're also trying to help you to not feel so restrictive, because I think that's a lot of times that people turn to binge eating when they feel like they're just like that feeling of deprivation. I find that when starting, if you focus on all the amazing things you can eat, like when you look at those recipes, you're like, oh, this looks delicious, and you focus on all of those, you don't think about what you can't have as much. But when you focus on what you can't have, it's like, I don't know if anyone's read that book, As a Man Thinketh. but like it has like the analogy of like a cake sitting there. And like every time you walk past it, every time you tell yourself, I can't eat that cake, I can't eat that cake, all you want to do is eat the cake, right? And so part of this in opening up more foods is just to keep that abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. But cheese specifically, if you don't have an allergy to cheese or you're not lactose intolerant or any of those, it is actually a great way just to add in protein. It's really easy. Like for me, my first trimester of pregnancy. So if you don't know, I mean, I'm wearing black, so you might not be able to tell, but I'm 32 weeks pregnant. My first trimester, I had an aversion to meat. Like just the idea of a burger or chicken just sounded so disgusting to me. And I normally don't eat cheese, but that was one of those times where I was like, I need protein. And that's when I did that. And it helped me so much. And so I think also adding in these, it just helps for different where people are in their life, especially for people who just maybe need protein and don't like meat. Although lean is a very tasty way of getting in protein, that was really easy for me as well. Okay, so I had, let me get back to where I was. Okay, grains. So grains are another one. If you can do, so some people do have problems digesting grains. And so one of the things that I recommend is like oatmeal. Overnight oats is a great way to get in oatmeal, with it being a lot easier in your digestive system because of that soaking. It actually helps with that digestive process. So I really do like doing things like that. Buying sprouted grains, those type of things, they're just a lot easier on digestion. And so if you have any sort of digestive issues, that's going to be a better way to do it. But a lot of these have a lot of dietary fiber. And fiber is really important for managing weight. It's really important for your microbiome, for feeding that good bacteria. This fiber is also really important for your blood sugar. All of these different things is why you want to get in more fiber. And I know that before, I think probably not a lot of people, like I remember reading through comments, and it was some people were like getting constipated or whatever. And a lot of time that it just can be not enough fiber. However, the opposite is true. If you get too much fiber, so fiber, like it will absorb water and expand. And if you don't have enough water, it will like kind of stick there in your digestive system. So making sure you're properly hydrated is also really important when you up that fiber, to making sure that everything's like flushing through adequately. That's the word I'm looking for, adequately. So that is one of the reasons why we chose to add grains in there, is specifically for that fiber, that diversity, and all of the benefits that those have. But also following the guidelines, you're still going to lose weight. And I think that's sometimes the fear, is adding in new foods, because we've really been positioned to fear carbohydrates. And we really don't need to. It's just making sure you're getting the right ones in the right amounts for your body. And then also just knowing what your personal needs are. Like I said, if you're lactose intolerant, I guess you could do cheddar cheese. Cheddar cheese is lactose free. So like if you're lactose intolerant, like making sure you're eating to what your body needs is also very important, and like listening to your body. Okay, so I can't eat meats. I get violently sick and I'm lactose intolerant. Okay, so my plant-based cheese, good for me protein. I eat plant-based meats for my proteins too. You would have to look at the protein counts on them. A lot of plant-based cheeses are very fat-based, which isn't bad. Like there's some that are like coconut oil based, which is awesome. Coconut oil is actually great for like hormones and digestion and things like that. But I'm not sure like the protein amount of that. Soy is going to be your best friend. If you can get, like we have the tofu scramble, that's really high in protein. If you do that, plus it has in it nutritional yeast, and that nutritional yeast is a great like add-on to that. Goat cheese. I love goat cheese. I am definitely partial to goat cheese. Okay. So, if you are lactose intolerant, so lactose is the sugar found in dairy. So when you look at a package of cheese, if it says 0 grams of sugar, that means it is lactose free. So somebody with a lactose intolerant could actually eat that, and they would be fine if they're lactose intolerant. But if you're dairy intolerant, then you can't have that because if it's the dairy, if it's just the lactose, just look like that's an easy way to look. 0 grams of sugar, 0 lactose. So you're good there. The majority of the world is lactose intolerant. I believe they say roughly 90% of the world is lactose intolerant. Or sorry, 75% of the world, 90% of Asians are, a really high amount of Africans are. If you're European descent, Europeans have a little bit more tolerance to lactose because of generational using dairy. Anyway, so it's just really interesting. So just pay attention to like your own food sensitivities. Yes, dairy kills me too. Yeah, nutritional yeast is great. I love nutritional yeast. It's really high in B12, which gives you a boost of energy. That's a great way to add, and it makes everything taste cheesy-ish. I've added it on popcorn. It's also really good. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay. All right, so I talked a little bit about fruit and a little bit about grains. What else did you guys want me to cover tonight? I've kind of like gone through it quick.
Awesome. One of the things that I think that we were asking is that after the 8-day, and we've always told on low carb to have a cheat meal. So have a cheat meal on day 9, and then you get to have one every week. We've been talking about that a little bit in the executive chat, and it's like, well, we never actually had that in the old book either. So what are your thoughts about having cheat meals or not having cheat meals as far as like better results, one or the other?
Yeah. I don't love the term cheat meal. And it's only because I feel like you should feel satisfied all the time. And I really think, and sometimes that does cause you to have to be creative with your meals, because I think a lot of people are on what we call the SAD diet, the standard American diet, right? We like eat like a lot of fried foods and things like that. And so, yeah, sometimes deviating from that and eating a more whole food based diet can be. So even identifying it as cheat meal, I don't love that. But I do understand that the rule of like 80-20 or 90-10 or those type of things where it's like the majority of your diet comes from these whole foods, really like just real food. And then that 10% is, yeah, like partaking in something else. I would say I would probably wait until after the 30 days. I would come up with clean cheat meals or like a cheat meal that still fits, but is a little bit more fun, right? Because I always just worry that people feel too deprived, right? And then you end up just blowing everything. And then we're perfectionists and we think, oh, we had one meal that was bad and like to hell with the whole thing. I'm just gonna, or I'm just gonna start Monday or whatever, right? And so I do feel like there is some room for like deviating a little bit. But I think if you call it a whole cheat meal, then that makes it seem so much cooler than everything else you're eating, when the other things you're eating could be totally delicious and amazing too, but you've just like put this one meal on a pedestal. So these are just my personal thoughts, and maybe I'm rambling, but that's just my personal thoughts on cheat meals. I also do think that I just don't want you to look forward all week to just this one meal when really like I love food. I am such a foodie. Like I am so passionate. Like the way to my heart really is through my stomach. But I also love like yummy, good, real food, right? And sometimes that does take a little bit retraining your taste buds, because I don't need all of that artificial like high intensity flavor. Like I love the flavor of a raw cashew. I think it's sweet, right? Like I love raspberries and blueberries, and they're just as sweet to me as ice cream. So it also could be just like retraining your taste buds. I do think one meal is not going to be the end of your results. I don't think one meal did not make you overweight, and one meal is not going to make or break you. And so I think if that's something that you need, but if you don't, like, I think maybe even just making like I don't know, like making a compliant pizza. I think we actually have a compliant pizza recipe, don't we?
I think we do. I think it's made out of cauliflower rice.
Yeah, which really does taste great.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you can set it up to where that's your type of cheat meal, I think that's a better way to do it to really get those results you're looking for. I know that we kind of want instant gratification, right? Like the 8-day shows that. But that's kind of like, we want that, we can get that, but how do you make sure that lasts? That's actually harder than making the first initial 8 days of weight loss, is making sure it lasts. And I think by how you make it last is by really incorporating foods that you really do love that are compliant. And making sure that you really are enjoying like sitting down at each meal, and that you're eating and you're eating enough for your body so that you don't feel deprived, and you can still lose weight that way. Oh, I have some questions on here. Okay, so keto versus our new menu. So keto, it does work for like short-term weight loss. One of the things we're finding, because it became popular very fast. There wasn't a lot of research long-term on keto. And keto does work for some people for sure. And then there's some people it won't. It can really mess up hormone levels, specifically in women, where long-term weight loss just is not attainable and yo-yo dieting will happen. Also, you have to make sure you do it a really specific way for it to not cause issues later on. And that can be really difficult for people. I find this with a lot of things, even veganism. There's a lot of different things that you have to, because our body is made a certain way, our digestive system, we're omnivores. So we're actually supposed to have animal protein and plant proteins and all these different things. And I totally respect that somebody might be vegan or vegetarian for other reasons. But when you do that, you do have to be really like careful and really strategic in how your diet is composed in order to make sure that you don't cause any issues or have any deficiencies. And keto goes along with that. It's really low, obviously, in carbohydrates, which can be really difficult for a lot of people. And then too high of fat will have a negative. There's actually a lot of studies showing that has a negative effect on your microbiome. So for like a short term, I can totally see why people did it and why it worked. But as a long-term solution, I just don't really think it's the right fit. Our new menu allows for more long-term success without that like going back and forth and that yo-yo dieting. So that's kind of that would be my take on that, is just opening up, not having such a restrictive, because even in order to go to ketosis, you have to be very targeted in your amounts and tracking that. And even just tracking your exact macros is really difficult for a lot of people long-term. So that's another thing that makes it harder, is because it's not quite as intuitive. But I also know like diets are people's like kind of like a religion. So I always hate comparing diets, because I know some people like they found something that worked for them and so they're passionate about it. So popcorn is not on the do not eat list. What is your opinion about popcorn? People generally eat it at night. So popcorn is a whole grain. It is a whole grain. And I think okay, so first let's go to popcorn. So yeah, it's a whole grain, which is great for you. Okay. I personally love popcorn. I think getting it organic is going to be a little bit better for you, just because of some of the processes that can happen to popcorn. And if you can add things yourself, add your own salt, add nutritional yeast, those kind of things. Like movie popcorn butter is not real butter. So like stay away from probably that kind of stuff, but you can make popcorn healthy. People do generally eat it at night. My only take on at night eating, what's difficult about that is when the sun goes down, your digestive system slows down. It works off what we call your circadian rhythm. It's really fascinating. Your body, like, it is really cool. Like I was breastfeeding my last daughter, and it was fascinating. When the sun goes down, your breast milk changes composition. So night milk is different than morning milk. which is really interesting. You have like different things that help with sleep at night versus the morning. And we discovered this because people were freezing their milk and then giving their babies morning milk at night, and it was keeping them awake. Anyways, so your body is just really fascinating, and it is really interesting with digestion. And so when the sun goes down, your digestion does start to slow. And so that's when I usually try to slow down my eating in order to not overload my digestive system. So that is kind of my only take on popcorn and eating it at night. But I mean, if you get like 100 calories of popcorn, it's probably not the worst thing in the world, right? It's not a heavy meal at night. So you would probably be fine. What fruits and how much, along with what grains and how much? That's a good question. I do not know the list off the top of my head, but I do know that in the nutrition guide, I believe we have a link to the full list. Yeah, let's see. So like when I open up my guide, it links up to the 8-day in here. And this is where you're going to find the don't snack at night, by the way, it's on there. Let's see, nutritional planning, I believe. Okay, so on page 10, you have your foods list. But let's see. Do you guys know? I don't see fruits on here. Oh, it's on the 8-day. I'm sorry. It's on the Jumpstart program. The fruit is on the Jumpstart program. I clicked on the 8-day list. But you should have a fruit in there. And then normally what we do is we do portion control. This is not going to be great. So you do like the palm of your hand is usually a serving of fruit. I will say, the fruits that I personally love, especially when somebody is trying to manage weight, is going to be like berries. Berries are great. Berries have a lot of polyphenols and antioxidants, and those ones are going to be great. They also have a lot of fiber, and they also have like fruit has what we call like gelatinous water, and it's where your water molecules are a little bit more condensed. And so eating your water is actually a better way to hydrate than just drinking water. So that's another benefit of eating those fruits. I know that there are some fears of like the higher sugar fruits, like a banana or like pineapple. Green, like when you get a banana and it's, you know how it's like green, like at the, like, and most people don't eat it when it's green, they eat it when it's yellow. Well, when you actually eat it when it's green, that's when it has the highest amount of prebiotic fiber and the lowest amount of sugar. This also is going to be the easiest on digestion because it has less of what we call FODMAPs, and these are just fermentable carbohydrates. And so a green banana, if somebody is like a little bit more nervous to eat a banana because of sugar, tell them to eat a green banana because it is great. Like it's really amazing things for your gut. Pineapple. Pineapple is another great one. Pineapple naturally has a digestive enzyme called bromelain in it, which is great for digesting protein. And so even though it has a lot of sugar in it, it's still great for you. But just do it in like the right serving amount. Kind of don't go overboard. I don't find a lot of people go overboard on fruit. It's usually like fats, like nuts, where it's like super easy to keep snacking them. But fruit, we usually don't. There was actually a really cool study, the American Diabetic Association. They did a study on diabetes to see how much fruit somebody with diabetes could eat and still regulate their insulin levels. And they got up to 30 pieces of fruit without it negatively impacting their insulin. I don't know anybody who is eating 30 fruits a day, but it does show us that fruit should not be feared from an insulin perspective, that it's not going to cause those spikes and those crashes because of polyphenols, because of those phytonutrients, and because of fiber. So fruit is great there. I believe on the program you eat, I believe it's 2 or 3 servings of fruit a week, I think is kind of the allotment. So, but I can't find it right now in my guide. So, all right. What other questions do you guys have?
I did find it. So
I hope this is helpful.
yeah, so when you go into the nutrition guide, it's on page, well, my iPad says, okay, so it says page 12, and
Okay.
you go into your fruits, and just like you said, it's blackberries, blueberries, cantaloupe, honeydew, peaches, raspberries, strawberries, tomatoes, and watermelon. Of course,
Okay.
tomatoes as a fruit, but it says fruit is higher in sugar. Limit your serving to 1 cup a few times a week.
Okay. A few times a week. Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Perfect.
Whew. It's like the hot seat over here. Okay. And we are coming out with the healthy living guide. So after the 30 days, then what? Right. So this is really just for 8 days and then that post jump start, which is the rest of those 30 days.
Awesome. All right, you guys, anyone else have any more questions? Some great questions. And thank you so much, Chanelle.
Okay.
Very, yeah, I did write down a lot of things, and I'll probably have to come back and listen. Thank you, Dawn, for recording this, because that was a lot of great information, especially when we're looking at fruits and grains. And, you know, we had grains when I started the program. We did, you know, days 3, 5, and 7, we had grains. And Tammy was here then as well. I think Kim was too, but I think the rest of you guys were pretty new. So I think we all love those grains and some fruits. So, but Dawn, do you have something? All right, I'll mute.
One thing, if y'all don't follow Chanelle on Instagram, go follow her, because her stories are amazing. And I love it. I love watching your stories and stuff. But a couple of questions. One is being with the products and the supplements. Do you find that there is kind of like a washout period that we need to do? Like we need to stop if we've got a long weight loss journey like mine is, as far as like going off the Accelerate for a while or the Zing for a while, does your body become accustomed to these where they don't work as effectively as they did in the beginning?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know if we have anything showing whether or not certain things, like I will say like caffeine, we do see that the your set point of caffeine changes. And so you might have started off where like 70 milligrams of caffeine gave you a great boost, but now you're up to 300 milligrams, right? The same thing could be for other thermogenics as well. But I don't think we have any really long-term studies on that, like targeting that specifically. We have long-term studies on like safety and things like that, but specifically how your body would acclimate, we aren't positive. I do think it probably is a good idea to maybe cycle, and especially off of things like Zing, probably Accelerate, definitely Flush. You don't want to take Flush long term because of that Senna. Not that Senna is bad, but it's just it's doing what your body should do, and so you can only do that for so long before like you want your body to step up and start, you know, like moving things through. So I don't think it's a bad idea to maybe take a break from a couple things and replace them with things that, like Omega is really a great product. Like it's really hard. So just going back to my social media, I want to talk about our products all the time, but I can't, just because nobody can go to the website and buy them. And so then I have to like field all these questions of like, okay, you have to call this number. Yeah. Anyways, so, but I will tell you, like, I want to be able to promote Omegas because our Omega is amazing. And it has a unique set of Omegas in it that other Omegas don't have. So I love Omegas. Another product that is great, especially right now, is Immune. The power of mushrooms is incredible as immune modulators. And so like sometimes so I wouldn't just go off all supplements. I would say, okay, I'm going to take a break from maybe a thermogenics. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus right now on my immune system. And that's going to be through Global Blend and Immune and probiotics, right? And then that's where my focus is. And I think sometimes it's the right products for the right time of life as well. I don't think somebody should be constantly trying to lose weight all year. I just don't think that's sustainable. I don't think that's healthy for somebody. I think 8 days is 8 days because like that's what's sustainable for you and that's what's practical. But I always think that having wellness goals is really important. Like right now, like everyone is getting sick. Like everybody's getting sick. So right now in my pregnancy, I'm focusing on one, supporting my placenta. And I do that through taking our collagen, which is amazing. I'm very proud of that product. That's actually what I thought this call was on originally. So one day get me on for collagen because I could talk for days on that. But so right now, those are the things I'm focusing on in my own health is my immune system and making sure that I'm good there. And then just baby health. I had COVID a few weeks ago. And so just making sure like everything's, up there. So my point of life is I'm not trying to lose weight, right? I'm trying to gain weight at this point. But what's really cool about Singular is we're able to help satisfy the needs of women at the point of life that they're in, whether they're wanting to maintain their weight, lose weight, gain weight, right? Like we can help them on their wellness journey at those different phases. And so just back to your point of like cycling off of things, I think that does allow you to focus on different areas of health a little bit more strategically.
Perfect. One more question. Is there a chance that y'all will come out with like an athlete plan? Those athletes that come in that are wanting to lose weight and tone up, but yet this food plan, if I'm not mistaken, we're not fueling them enough to do what they need to be doing. Is there a chance that we'll have that in the future?
I think that's a great question. I think that's definitely something that has been kicked around. I will say that what we do is we take feedback from the field. So when I very first got hired on by Singular, that was my very first request was I wanted to see your suggestion box and also your product feedback, like complaints or successes, like things that people loved or hated about products, because then we're able to kind of move from there on what new products to produce, or maybe there is something that we need to like adjust about a current product to make it better, right? And a fitness line did come up in that. One of the things that we did find is that a lot of people said that the way they promote the business is that you can lose weight without exercising. And which is true, you can lose weight without exercising, but what that ends up doing is it makes it difficult to introduce a fitness line because you're telling people they don't need to work out. So they're not coming to work out, if that makes sense. And so that was the only hiccup I saw with that. I would love a workout line personally. I use like essential amino acids. And I even do like a pre-workout for pregnancy that just has nitric oxide, like pumps your blood, right? So I would love to see it personally. I just think that needs to come. We are very field driven and we listen to you and we respect what you guys want and how you guys build your business. And so my recommendation would be like when you're on the phone with customer service, maybe put in a plug that that's something you're looking for. Even like telling people like when they do join, like even healthy walking, like we do want to build muscle, weightlifting, like we do not need to be athletes, but definitely movement is important for your body. And so I think also like kind of changing a little bit of the way of we talk about wellness, where it's just this full, I don't know. I think that might help as well. Okay. How would the collagen help with weightlifters or CrossFit? Oh, that's a great question. So collagen does help with your muscles. It does help with muscle soreness. I would say if I am somebody who does, I do weightlifting. I do like some HIIT workouts, or I used to do HIIT workouts and things like that. And my main reason for taking collagen, our collagen. So I was like the first taste. I was the first subject of our collagen. I actually did it on myself, which if you look at my Instagram and you see my first picture from January of last year to now, my hair, like it's grown probably like that much. It's insane. But yeah, so I was the first person. And one of the things I very first noticed is joints. I noticed like that hyaluronic acid because I've taken collagen for years, but I knew the power of hyaluronic acid, and other products just didn't have adequate amounts, or they didn't have it at all. And that was something that I had no idea my body needed. But like my joints, so my recovery was amazing. I was a soccer player, I did gymnastics and cheerleading. And so I've always had like kind of, like the rickety joints. And this was amazing for that. So that would be my main thing, I think, would be obviously protein, and those amino acids help with muscle recovery, but just really joint health is pretty incredible with that product. I promote exercise often. Good. Yeah, I do think things are changing and shifting. And so I think that does allow for opening up of new product lines and new products and things like that. But just so you know, you really do have a voice, and we really do listen to you. And I read like everyone's suggestions. And so we love that.
All right. Anyone else? Kim, you have something? Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
I did. I have a question for you. Being that we have the collagen, and we've always, in the past, we've recommended, especially for women, Genesis for a lot of things. I'm a huge fan of Global Blend. I am, where you have gymnastics, my AKA back in the day was a busted up rodeo queen, and I've never even been one. So anyway, now with the collagen, which is phenomenal, and I too have filled that joint repair, actually coming like within days of just starting it. What would be a better recommendation to go with a collagen? Would it be Global Blend or Genesis? If they could only afford to pick one or the other, what do you think is the most beneficial? Because they want the collagen for beauty, hair, and all this and that. Or would you put which of the two, Genesis or Global Blend, if they could only choose one because of finances? Which is more beneficial?
That's a really hard one. I probably Global Blend. Probably Global Blend, yeah.
And
It really
yeah, thanks. And my second question is, I do have a few people, which I don't understand because I love pina colada. Why did we choose to go with pina colada, and why, like other products out on the market, do we not go with a non-flavored collagen product that mix with other liquids?
That is a great question. Okay, so part of the reason for that was we wanted to do a flavor for that overall experience of being able to get somebody to take a product where they don't have to mix it with anything else, something that you could like sample out as is. That was one of the main reasons for having a flavor. And I will tell you, our pina colada has done incredibly well and is one of our top selling products now in very short amount of time. I don't think that means that an unflavored version is out of the question. However, pina colada sets us apart from the competition right from the get-go, where an unflavored, you have to do the explanation, unfortunately, because people's like, oh, well, what's different between this unflavored and this unflavored? But sometimes when they taste it, just that experience kind of hooks them. But I will say, don't count out an unflavored just yet.
Oh, it is so good. I drink it as a cup of tea right before I go to bed at night. It is so delicious, hot, not hot, hot, but like
Warm.
in between warm and hot. Yeah, it is so good. It is delicious.
I love the pina colada. I also love like that it has real coconut milk powder in it, and it makes it like creamy and just that experience. We really just wanted something that somebody tasted and they had like a good experience, where unflavored, you would have to mix it with something else for them. And we weren't sure how well people would want to do like always having to buy two products or, but I will say that we've done really well with a trim sticks and collagen together has actually done really well, a lot better than we even anticipated. So, oh, another one. Why do we sleep better when taking collagen at night? That's a great question. One of the amino acids in collagen is called glycine, and glycine actually helps calm your central nervous system and helps you sleep. It helps you relax. It is not like you're not going to take collagen and get sleepy. However, what it does is it allows your body to get into that sleep mode easier at night. You could actually take glycine in the morning and still sleep better at night because of the way it works. And so even if you went to like a health food store, you could actually find just like packages of just glycine for sleep. We just happen to have a high amount of it in our collagen blend.
Okay, anyone else? I loved it. So there was a couple other ones in here. I love it. So Kelly Dodson, she says that she plays on 3 soccer teams, and since starting collagen, she's definitely recovering faster. People add it with the trim sticks. I loved it because at Zing Fest, we got to taste all the different kinds of collagen with all the trim sticks. That was really good. And I think cardio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was so good. Well, anyone else real quick, raise your hand. Yeah, Zip Sticks. Yes, absolutely, Dawn. Zip Sticks, collagen. Yep. It's good. All right. Well, thank you so much. We super appreciate it. Next time we call, we're going to give you a lot more time, but we definitely would love you to do a call on collagen, but I'll let one of the other ladies set that up. So thank you again so much. And when is your baby due?
March 3rd.
Oh my gosh. And do you know what it's going to be yet?
It's a boy.
It's a boy. And you have a little girl, right?
I have a little girl. Her name's Coco K.
Oh, how cool. All right. So how long will you continue working?
I will work. So we actually have fling 4 weeks after I give birth. And so I will most likely wait to take my maternity leave until after fling. Because I will probably be flying to Orlando to do a presentation and then flying back. Pretty quick turnaround, but I do still want to go and see all of you guys and present because we have some really amazing things coming. So
I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it so much. And you take care of yourself.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you, Chanelle.
Thank you. All right, Dawn, I'll let you leave. I'll leave first.
Oh, I can end it. No big deal.
Okay, end it. All right, perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome.